I haven't done a challenge in a while, so I figured it's about time we did another one. Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Elise. If you're new to my channel, thanks for stopping in. If you're not new, welcome back. It's great to see you around. I have seen this challenge floating around YouTube for a little while. Today, we're doing the Goodreads highest and lowest rated books on my physical TBR. Now, if you haven't seen my physical TBR, I'm highly embarrassed, but I'm gonna plug it anyway. Go check it out. I have two bookshelves right here. One is books that I've already read, except for this little stack. I read about half of that series. And then this is a bookshelf of books that I have not read that are on my physical TBR, as well as this little stack right here. We are going to focus on my physical books on my TBR today for this Goodreads challenge. So I'm gonna pop it up right here on my screen. I went ahead and physically added every single book on my physical TBR to this shelf on Goodreads. I didn't know that there was a scan function until after I did this video. Just so you know, if you want to add a book on Goodreads, they do have a scanning option where you scan the ISBN and it will add it for you, so don't make the same mistake that I did. Also, if you haven't followed me or friended me on Goodreads, please do. I love looking at what you guys read and sneakily liking things. Here are the books that I physically own that I have not read yet. You can sort your Goodreads shelves. Now I'm gonna set this down before I continue, and I'm gonna guess because I could kind of see some of the ratings as I put them in, but based on what I've heard on like Instagram, BookTube, my guess for the highest rated book, I think it's gonna be Remarkably Bright Creatures. This is what I think is gonna be the highest rated book on my TBR. So we're gonna see if that's the case or not. Let's see if I can guess the lowest rated book. Probably down here. I'm gonna guess this one. And it's Second Opinion. I just picked this up randomly at a secondhand shop. These are my guesses for highest rated and lowest rated. So let's go back to my Goodreads shelf and see which one's the highest and lowest rated. So I'm gonna click average rating. Okay. Oh my gosh. Can you see? So the Nightingale is the highest rated with 4.6 stars. Holy moly. Okay, I want to see where Remarkably Bright Creatures lands. Oh, The Help. I should have thought of that. Okay, so Remarkably Bright Creatures is pretty high up there. I was 7 books off. That's not bad. Okay, now let's switch it and see what the lowest rated book is. I'm nervous. Oh, California. Okay, let me grab those two. Okay, so here's California. Let's get the Nightingale. Oh, here we go. The Nightingale in California. Let's see how well this book is rated, the Second Opinion. I wasn't too far off. I was 9 off for the lowest. I'm really surprised to see Angelina Frankenstein is so low because I have a lot of friends who really highly rated that and said it was super fun. So I'm kind of surprised. Okay, so let's look and see what these books are about. The Nightingale by Kristin Hannah has a 4.6 average rating on Goodreads, which is insanely good. I have heard really good things about it. It's a historical fiction novel about two sisters in France during World War II. At this time in France, during this war, it's occupied by Germans and the Nazis. It says, it illuminates an intimate part of history seldom seen, the women's war. Because all of these men were sent off to war, but then the women at home, at the home front, had to fill in all of these roles and do all of these things to make sure that supplies were sent and make all of these changes and sacrifices in a different way than the soldiers had to. That's going to be really interesting. A heartbreakingly beautiful novel that celebrates the resilience of the human spirit and the durability of women. Women are strong, but ooh, this book is thick. Let's see how big she is. Including the author's note, it is 570 pages. It's okay. I'm sure it'll be great. California, I haven't decided if it's like speculative or dystopian or thriller or what's going on here. Apparently it's at a different time when California is kind of like crumbling, when the world is crumbling apart and people live in these sort of like organizations, like these organized settlements are all that's left of the world. And so we have these two characters, Cal and Frida, who are a young couple, and they're trying to join some of these organizations. They're going to these places and trying to figure out who they can trust. Is it safer in these organizations, or is it safer on their own, like in the wilderness by themselves? So they just are going through this and having to figure out who to trust, all while they're having this uncertainty of an unborn child. This has been on my TBR for a really long time, and it's also on my reader bust. So I'm excited to finally give this a try. Let's see how big this one is. So including the acknowledgements, it is 392 pages. So both of these are kind of big in my opinion. Y'all, I have been on the short book train lately. I'm gonna read this one first because one, it's shorter. Two, I think I would rather read the one that's rated a little bit lower first. That way I have something to look forward to. Plus, I'm worried that I might go into a reading slump after this because of how long it is, and I've heard that this book is like heartbreaking. So I am going to go ahead and read California first. I'll get back to y'all with my first thoughts of California. I am currently 146 pages into California. The beginning is really slow. The first chapter is 30 pages long, maybe even longer. The beginning is very flowy, introspective. Here's what happened in the past. Not a lot of action happens. Honestly, not even a lot of dialogue happens. But as it goes, it's definitely building. So far, Frida and Cal have met their neighbors a few miles away. They're very cryptic neighbors, they're very odd neighbors, but we also find out that they have passed away, they're gone, and we don't know why. And then they talk about these spikes that they find, these giant spikes of junk that they find, and they think that there is a civilization there, but their neighbors keep saying, don't go there, stay where you are. And there's this wandering man who delivers and trades items, and he also says, stay. So there's this very foreboding feeling leading up to this. We also kind of learn a lot about Frida's brother. His name is Micah. They say that he's dead, so it's just like, why is he being talked about so much? Why are there so many flashbacks? Why is she remembering so much about him? Where is this going to lead? And then we find out that Frida is pregnant, which we're told about in the synopsis. Frida just has this feeling of like, I want more. She's so lonely. It's only her and Cal now. She kind of loses it one day and ends up finding proof of civilization in the nearby area and kind of lays down the law to Cal and is like, we're gonna go find it. The world is not doing well, so people are either moving to the forest or moving to these civilizations. It's very slow paced, and that's not bad at all, but it's not my thing at all either. So I'm not loving it, but I'm also not hating it. When I get into it, I'm having a good time, but it kind of takes me a little bit of time to get into it, if that makes sense. I have a feeling it's going to be one of those books where it's really slow and then something happens, and then it's really slow and then something happens. So we're gonna see if my inference is correct. We'll see how it goes. Hey friends, what's up? I am running some errands with my dad. We came into town and went for a walk, and that's why I look like this, because during said walk we got rained on. Yes, we did check the weather. It did not say it was supposed to rain. It was just a freak rain shower, and then of course now it's not raining anymore, so we love that. My dad is visiting a friend right now, so I'm just kind of hanging out in here, but I wanted to give you guys an update about this book. This book made me so mad. It was kind of dystopian. Basically, the resources are running out, the government has failed us, and people have started either going and living in the wilderness or going and living in these communities. It's like, come here, do this for us and we'll give this to you, but it's very strict. You have to follow the rules or you'll be kicked out. Frida and Kyle are like so against these communities. They go live in the wilderness. It's really tough, but then she becomes pregnant and she wants more. So they go and they end up finding this kind of community, but it's not a community. I don't understand. I can't tell you anymore without spoiling it, but I was just so mad because they did all of these things for a purpose. And then in the end, they just abandoned that purpose. So it was like, why did I even read this? Why did I go through all of this? I ended up skimming towards the end. Why did I read 389 pages of this for you to do exactly what you despised at the beginning? I'm mad. I'm so mad about this book. Maybe it did deserve its rating. Anyway, I did start the Nightingale last night. I got to page 41. It's so smooth already. I already know it's gonna be so sad. I feel it. I feel it. I think it's gonna be much faster pace for me to read. There's already some very lush and beautiful descriptions going on. I'm looking forward to getting more into this book. I have a feeling I'm gonna cry. Anyway, that was my update. I just really had to express how angry this book made me. I've already ranted about it to my boyfriend and my dad. And now you. again, everyone. I am here to give you an update on this book, The Nightingale by Kristin Hannah. I finally finished it. I have not done many updates on this book, and let me tell you why. I had a hard time reading this book, not because it was bad. It was beautifully written. Kristin Hannah does an excellent job of really taking the reader and putting them into that place, using all of the senses and emotions to put you in the place that the character is and evoke all sorts of emotions. But it was just tough. It was just tough to read about World War II again. I have read quite a few books about World War II, and I have to say this is the first time I've read one from a French perspective. Also kind of more from the women as a whole perspective. This book kind of focused more on the women's side of things and kind of the thanklessness of what they did and sacrificed during the war. Even if it wasn't going out and physically fighting the war, they still fought the war in their own ways. I think the reason I didn't update as much is because it was a struggle for me to read. It's very long. I feel like Kristin Hannah does not trust the readers to feel or think or ascertain certain things that she's trying to get across in the text. And I think that there was a lot of beating things over the head and repetition of things so many times in different ways to make sure that the reader was getting the idea of things. And I think that those were kind of unnecessary and helped make the book a lot longer than it needed to be. Sorry, that's my timer to leave for work soon. Not yet, but soon. I have to give this book a 4 stars for me. Not because it's undeserving of a 5 stars, but because when you read a book, the rating has to do with your own visceral experience. This was beautifully written. It was very smooth and easy to follow. It was very easy to feel what those characters were feeling. I have to say though, the last chapter, oh my gosh, I didn't have my camera nearby or I would have filmed my reaction, but holy moly, just tears. Sobbing, just silent tears. That was really beautifully done. Again, if you don't remember at the beginning of the video, this has a 4.6 star rating, average rating on Goodreads. I personally will give it a 4 star just because of my personal views and preferences. It was a little longer than I think it needed to be. Sometimes it was a lot of just like over descriptions of things that I didn't think were necessary to the plot. It was a tough topic. It was tough. Beautiful story though. 4 stars for sure. Probably like a 4.25 if I'm being honest. We have this book, which has already gone into my next unhaul stack. If you guys remember, this was the first book and the lowest rated book that I had on my TBR at the time, California. I want to be nice and give this a 3 stars, but I really did not enjoy reading this book at all. And if I hadn't been doing this video, I would have DNF'd it. Oh, I feel bad, but if I'm being honest, I would give this like a 2.5 stars. Not for me. The way that it was written, how they did flashbacks was very snappy. Sometimes I had difficulty even realizing that it was a flashback. And then we'd be back in the present and I'm like, whoa, what just happened? There was not closure, in my opinion. I think I mentioned earlier, I got really frustrated that for like the full half of the book, at least, if not more, they were so against 1 or 2 specific things. And then at the end of the book, they did those things. So what did we go through as a reader? Why were we put through that for them to do the exact opposite of what they wanted to do? Anyway, you can tell it's getting me a little heated. I know that there are those of you out here who might absolutely love this style of writing and this kind of story, the suspense, the underlying tension throughout the entire story. That might be your thing, and if that is, this book is for you. not for me. So that wraps up my Goodreads highest and lowest rated books. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's very different. This is historical fiction and this is, I guess, dystopian. It said sci-fi when I was looking it up, but this did not have any sci-fi in it. It was not futuristic at all, aside from the fact that it took place in the future, but there was nothing about this world that was scientifically or technologically more advanced than the world we're living in now. So to me, that wouldn't be sci-fi, that would be like dystopian. Very different ratings. Average 4.6, and this one I think was average like 3.3 or 3.2. My ratings for them are 4-star and 2.5 star. Feel bad saying that. Alright you guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If there are any other challenges like this that you would like to see, leave it down below in the comments and let me know your thoughts. If you've also read these books, I would love to know your thoughts on them as well. And I will see you guys in my next video. Hope you're doing well whenever and wherever you're watching this, and sending you good vibes always. Bye everyone.